Hello and welcome back to OT the podcast. We're here to talk about watches, time, and how to spend it. My name is Felix von Scholtenberg.
Felix, and I'm Andy Green. How are you?
Slightly over the top, as you can tell. What's going on?
Strong mood. Felix, we thought in the aftermath, let's call it the aftermath of Watches and Wonders 2021, a digital experience, we should probably get together and pick out a handful of our favorite releases.
The internet loves a list, Andy.
If we've learned anything over the last 10 years, Felix, the internet loves a list. So we've picked 3 or 4 of our favorites. There might be some surprises in the mix. Just kind of quickly scanning through what you've picked out.
Well, I've kind of I'll get to it. I've done a slight left hand hook.
Yeah, a little bit of a swerve, as the kids say.
All about swerves and curves.
What have you been up to?
Well, what have we been up to? More's the point, Andy Green. We had a lovely chat on the old clubhouse.
We did
the other Friday.
We did. We hung out with Chris Granger from RWC
and some other people on the internet. There was no controversy in that. It was pretty straight up and down. I don't know if Chris Granger expected us to ask him quite so many questions about prototyping and mechanical engineering, but he answered them very well.
He did. Well, we open up the can that is prototype watches, and you don't often kind of get an opportunity to kind of hear it from the brand. So I use the public platform to kind of just ask questions.
He can't escape. He can't not answer them because other people are listening.
Yeah, nothing the PR team can do.
But no, it's. I think of all the CEOs that will sort of take those questions and answer them well. Like sometimes they're a bit more closed off, but he seems quite open about that sort of stuff, and he gave pretty solid and genuinely interesting answers that weren't just let me tell you about the new RWC Big Pilot 43.
He does a good job at answering as best as he can.
Yeah, while still representing the brand. Yeah, good job, Chris.
And keeping his job.
He's got our endorsement, so clearly that's all that matters.
Done. Pay rise coming your way.
The other big news, aside from our internet breaking clubhouse, is that there's going to be a physical watch event at the end of the year, an international one in Dubai.
When?
November, I think. October, November it's slated for.
Are
you across this?
I heard rumors, but I don't know if it's confirmed.
Well, they've sent out a press release. I'm sure if things change, they will cancel it.
November, 5-day event at the gate.
Yeah.
Wow. Siddiqui and Sons, of course.
What do you think about this? If they, would you go?
November, to be honest, probably. Probably. It's been that long since we've left the country.
It's fascinating. I think it'll be a really interesting to see what happens of it. I'm not sure. Like I'm still on the fence about it, but I think it's a good move, and it's glad to see that we're sort of returning to that state of affairs where I think these events are important. Like Zoom is great, Clubhouse is great, but IRL is greater. Right?
Yeah, if we've learned anything doing the podcast for just over 12 months now, it's sort of chatting to people, online on Zoom, on recording over the internet is amazing, but it doesn't beat those sort of in person chats and the sort
I'd
of
be staring you in the eyes
meet cutes
as we talk.
Yeah, that is the upside, that we don't have to ever see each other in person.
What have you been up to, by the way?
Binging a bit of Netflix.
How dare you?
You're
not working 24 hours a day?
I know. I had a man flu, so I caught up on I basically got through one of those entire Netflix series, which I'm pretty pleased about. It was top 10 in Australia. So it's called Who Killed Sarah? And it's a Mexican series, so it's in Spanish, subtitles, but also amazing dubbing. I always dub these shows.
Do you?
In a different language? Yeah. I know. I just find it so much better. I don't know. It's just me, but I just enjoy the dubbing. Reading subtitles.
Maybe you need to get glasses.
I have glasses. I can read the subtitles. I just find it better, like watching the dubbing and sort of the accents that are matched up and the voices they've chosen, and then kind of hearing what they actually sound like. But it's called a thriller series. It's more drama. I'm going to be honest with you, Felix.
Sure, sure, sure.
But it follows this sort of main protagonist who's been incorrectly incarcerated for 18 years, who finally gets out and then seeks revenge on who really killed his sister Sarah. So it's pretty easy watching.
On a scale of, Scandinavian noir to telenovela, where is it?
Nothing about that scale. I can't comprehend what the scale is, but I give it like an 8 out of 10.
Okay, all
IMDb
right,
sort
okay.
of put it at like 85, 90%.
Oh dear.
It's far too niche a scale.
I mean, if you're out there and you understood what I was getting at,
Not all of us worked at Blockbuster as
mate,
teenagers.
I did not work at Blockbuster. Get it right.
Alrighty, well, let's take a quick break and then let's call out our top picks from Watches and Wonders. Today's episode of OT the Podcast is brought to you by WatchBox.
WatchBox is the world's leading platform for the buying, selling, and trading of pre-owned luxury watches, fueled by technology, innovation, and unmatched global experience in the high-end watch market.
Hey, Felix, did you know that WatchBox own every watch that they sell?
Nice.
Yeah, it means they're not really a marketplace per se, and it means that they can implement universal standards across their global presence. They're also one of the largest buyers of pre-owned watches worldwide, meaning the selection on offer is amazing and ever-changing. Head over to their online store, thewatchbox.com, to discover the many hundreds. In fact, I just checked and there's thousands listed for sale, with so many more in inventory. WatchBox have all the hot stock with brands like Rolex, AP, Patek Philippe. But that's not it. There's also a killer mix of truly special independent brands. You don't see them everywhere. Think FP Journe, Lange, Grubel Forsey, even Richard Mille. They really have it all. There's also a lot of fun in the 100K, plus category. But regardless, there's always something new to discover.
Anything catch your eye, Andy?
Well, now that you mention it, there is an Everose Rolex GMT Master 2, Saru, that is really speaking to me. I'll drop a link in the show notes in case anyone's feeling generous.
Look, please do. Don't bother putting in the show notes. I'll just buy it for you.
Don't buy it all at once.
For our international listeners who want that in-store experience, WatchBox have a handful of salons in the USA, UAE, Singapore, Hong Kong, and naturally Switzerland. To check out their unmatched global inventory, head to thewatchbox.com. You'll literally be blown away. And when shopping at thewatchbox.com, you can enjoy guaranteed authenticity, 2 years warranty, and free express global shipping.
And while you're at it, why not join the WatchBox community? On top of being one of the world's largest dedicated luxury marketplaces for watches, they are also very serious when it comes to content. Community is front of what they do. Felix and I can personally speak to the fun of Tim Mosso's Facebook group, for example, or subscribing to WatchBox Studios on YouTube, which has some ridiculously good content. From Tim Mosso to Mike Manjos, WatchBox has enthusiasts at the core of their business. They've written some fantastic content on the website, things like historical pieces, really handy buying guides, and of course, industry news.
So whether you're in the market for a new watch, looking to sell, or even trade, hit up WatchBox today at thewatchbox.com. Buy world-class timepieces with confidence and convenience.
Now let's get back to the show.
And we are back. And as I teased in the lead, Andy, I've gone somewhere slightly different with these. Like, are these the best watches of Watches and Wonders? I don't know.
They're your favorites.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've tried to pick the less obvious ones. Like we've already talked about quite a few watches I like the new Big Pilot, the Mojave Big Pilot, it's a watch I'm into, the bloody Tudor 925. All those ones we've sort of covered in detail. I've sort of picked slightly interesting watches that I've really liked that I think are a little less obvious in some ways, because a lot of the great watches are like, yeah, okay, that's a sensible watch. Yep, that's a Rolex. That's great. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
So doing what I do best, I've tried to pick some left of center guys, and I've started with one that I'm just fascinated by. It's the Hermes Ho8. What do you think of this watch, Andy Green?
I actually think this is a pretty cool release from Hermes. Not entirely expected from the brand.
So what it is, it's a 39 millimeter by 39 millimeter, sort of rounded off square watch. Some people have very cruelly referred to it as Seven Friday, which I think undersells the craftsmanship and the design just a little bit. But it's sort of billed as I think it's Hermes's first exclusively masculine design, like made with men in
Mm.
mind, and it's
Yep.
meant to be an all day sports watch, basically. Like that you can wear doing anything. It comes in a range of options. The one I particularly like is the titanium with a sort of a orange rubber textile strap, which is really, really nice. But what Hermes do that I
Uh-huh.
really appreciate is that they make watches of a really high quality. Like, so they are part owners of Voucher, so it's a really good movement.
Mm.
Obviously, their Slim de Hermes is a beautiful, beautiful thin watch, but they do it in a different, I guess, design language. Like, because they're primarily, sort of a fashion or a lifestyle brand, they're not sort of stuck in the same, oh, we've been making watches for 100 years and this is part of our design DNA and our patrimony and yada, yada, yada. They take risks. Like another watch that we just got a press release for that I sent through to you, Andy.
Yes.
Um, I can't remember what it's called, the Hermes Derby or something. It's basically dude riding a horse and carriage in
On the
space
dial.
in
Space Derby, I think it was called,
Space
right?
Derby. Yeah, well, that makes sense. On a with a pink background with
Yeah.
planets and
Yeah, it's nuts.
it's nuts, but it's also exceptionally well done.
It's very cool.
It's not. It's and this is how they do everything. Like they do it to
Yeah.
the highest level. They do it. They take it very seriously. Like the typeface on the Ho8 is really beautiful. Like the designs are well done. The proportions are all there, but they don't play into the same, sort of, oh, it has to have blued steeled hands, and okay, so it's a white dial, so we have to use Breguet numerals, any of that. So I find their watches the best, them and Chanel as well, actually, the best combination of like what you can do with a giant brand with huge resources, but also freedom of design, which is why I really like it. And this one is 8,245 Australian dollars, which isn't too bad.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think it's going to be interesting to see how kind of the public and consumers respond to it. But tell you what, a little bit of a hack I learned
Hmm.
from from a friend. Just throw this out into the ether. But
Hang on, hang on. Is Hermes ever going to sponsor us after you reveal this hack? So how to get a Birkin bag for only like 3 weeks or less? Because if so,
okay.
that's the headline.
I mean, okay. So to kind of get access to those Birkin bags, you have to have a bit of a spending limit.
Sure.
And one way to kind of quickly spend a lot at Hermes is to buy a nice watch.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. They're not cheap.
Yeah, they're not cheap, so you kind of buy one or two watches, and you basically at the threshold to
Well,
apply
it's
for a
even more.
Birkin.
Yeah. And like, is it? I don't think it's as simple as just spend. It's also like got to have the history.
No, it's spend.
Oh, okay. Oh.
It's sort of spend. There's sort of if you kind of spend enough, you can get one. So rather than buy I don't know a bunch of MS scarves that you've got nothing to do with, maybe you buy one of these and you can wear it around and enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, their watches are great. And there was something else I was going to say about it, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, well.
Cool. Next.
Good story, huh? The next one is a little bit more, still is design oriented, actually, and still a watch brand that's known for their sort of spectacular design. But this one has a little bit more in the way of hardcore heritage.
I'd say right of field.
Yeah, I guess. So this is the new Cloche de Cartier from Cartier. And the cloche is a design that first appeared in watches in the sort of the early 1920s. So it goes back a while. And it's shaped for a bell. The easiest way to think about it for people playing at home in their headphones is it's like a capital D with the crown at the where it normally would be.
Yeah.
But the trick is that it's also on the side. So the 12 is at where 3 o'clock would be. If that makes sense to you.
Yes, I'm looking at a picture and you've confused me, but yes,
Yep.
I know,
Yep.
I know the
So
watch.
they've rotated it 45 degrees.
How do you read the time? You basically put your arm directly out in front of you
You just
and look
don't
ahead.
you don't have to move your wrist. You just look down and that's the time. Sort of like a
Mm.
driver's watch almost, that sort of layout.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
So this is the new sort of top line release from the Privé collection that did the Asymmetrique
Very
last
cool.
year, and I think the Centrés the year before that. Apologies for those French pronunciations, by the way. And these are the sort of the line of enthusiast or collector geared watches that were formerly the CPCP range, the
Mm.
Cartier, the Collection Privé Cartier Paris. And they're the bee's knees. There's also skeleton versions. Cartier obviously are masters of the old skeleton watch. 3 different main releases in pink gold, yellow gold, and platinum. The platinum is hot. It's got like an ivory dial and a red stone in the crown, and they're just great. They're just elegant. I think Cartier are hard to beat at the moment, and they're doing it by doing their own thing.
Yeah, they're staying in their lane, aren't they?
But it's such a broad lane. Like, I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at the other sort of blue chip watch brands, Rolex, has its thing.
Mm.
AP is the Royal Oak. Cartier is huge and varied and across the range in price points, but
Yes and
they've
no.
but,
It's mainly like classical dress watches. If you had to simplify and
but like
distill what they stand
what I
for.
mean is like there's not a single icon. It's not like
Oh yeah, no.
there's like the tag. There's a whole family of, but it's all beautiful. It's design shaped watches that they excel at, and I think they are on a roll at the moment, Andy. To be honest,
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just doing what they do and really doing a good job at it.
well, yeah, but I mean, but there are a few years, maybe 10 years ago, they were sort of a bit all over the shop. They've really
Bloated.
tightened up. They've
Mm.
really, you know,
No, I
they're-
agree. I think
yeah,
Cartier over the last few years has been amazing.
yep, one to
Yeah,
watch.
stunning work. What next?
Uh, and the last one, I've been cheeky.
Mm.
It's not a single sort of watch, but it's all of the watches released at Watches and Wonders 2021.
Just all of them.
Yeah, all of them, because
That's
they
one way.
all seem to have been really fun in the color.
Mm-hmm.
I've really, really enjoyed the watch industry going a bit wild with the colorways. That pistachio dial Breitling, that was hot.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
The trio of cotton candy orises in bronze. Who would have thought candy pink and a bronze case and bracelet would make such a,
Works.
a
Works for
lovely
me.
combination. Nommos, as always, have brought the color. Hublot, to be expected, have done some wild stuff, but that yellow ceramic Big Bang looks exceptional. But the one I thought I'd single out
Mm-hmm.
because it's simultaneously peak 2021 and peak, 90s retro German watchmaking is the Chrono Swiss flying regulator open gear Pink Panther. You across this, Andy?
You can't miss this watch.
Yeah, open gear Pink Panther. So it is a Chrono Swiss. They're a brand that sort of they're an old brand, but they've got a really
Mm.
distinctive look, like straight lugs, big onion crowns, love a good regulator,
Mm.
and pretty traditional, sort of really, what like big in the 90s watchmaking. This is all of that, but given a modern twist. So it's got a black case, the guilloche, that sort of really, really fine. I want to say it's like barley corn, but it probably isn't guilloche style. Is hot pink, and it's got a lot of visible workings on the dial side. So it's wild.
It's a limited edition. It's sort of put Chrono Swiss back on the map. It's one of those brands that we sort of exists. No offense, guys, but it's one of those brands that is out there when you kind of go through the glossary or the brands on a website and you kind of look at the C section and you go Cartier, oh Chrono Swiss, what's that? And you have a browse and this to me feels like although it's a limited edition of 50 pieces, it feels like it could put them sort of back on the map and get people talking about their other releases.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, exactly. And I
It's
think,
interesting. It's an interesting watch. I like the rotor as well, which is just stunning.
oh yeah, I mean, it's there's no shade against the quality of the product they create,
Mm.
but it's just like they've been out of the radar for a bit, so hopefully
Yeah.
they can get back in. What about you, Andy? Have you loved some watches from Watches and Wonders?
Yeah, I picked a few of my favorite. I didn't just kind of put the umbrella over the whole event and claim them all.
But you know what I mean with the color. Like that was
Yeah, the
it
color
was
was
pretty
strong.
great.
I've said it before. I think I said it last year. I think that we're at this point where people are really wanting to express their personality, and watch brands are listening to that. And like that Chrono Swiss it's not for everyone, but there are people out there that'll just love that opportunity to wear a bright pink dial.
Yeah.
All for it. So my first one is the Rolex Explorer 36mm steel and yellow gold, or roller saw, as they say. priced at 15,250 Australian dollars. I liked it when it came out. I loved it in person. We went and saw this together.
Mhm.
Things I really liked are the sort of the hands and the dials. You know, the gold
Oh, the black and
surrounds
gold. It's nice.
pops. You know, we talk about vintage watches of yesteryear and sort of gilt dials, and this just gave off modern gilt vibes to me. You know, obviously it's got that new caliber that we saw debut last year in the subs and the OPs, the
Mm.
3230, so 70 hours of power reserve, ready to explore. I just love the idea of kind of getting one, wearing it around, and you know, banging it up, and sort of this like juxtaposition almost of, you know, a tool watch that's got precious metal. And I also kind of like love that they did it and no one expected it,
Yep.
and sort of people getting offended that it's a tool watch in, you know, bimetal, like semi-precious metals,
Mm.
ignoring the fact that every other, you know, professional series comes in
Bimetal and precious metal.
precious. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my first one.
Hey, I got a question for you about this. We were just talking about the dial at the start. I'm waiting for someone out there to buy that and buy the straight on steel version, do a dial swap. That'd be cool.
It's an expensive, OP.
Mate, the people do that.
People are, yeah. You know who'll do it?
Eric Koo.
Eric Koo. He will.
I think he's done it before.
Probably, yeah, he's probably already done it. Damn you, Eric. Great episode. We should link that up, Felix. Make a note.
Thanks,
If you've
Andy.
missed our chat with Eric Koo, boy, oh boy, what a man.
Uh,
My next pick, you gave it a shout earlier. The Nommos Club Campus.
How can we not shout this watch? It shouts for itself, let's be honest.
So 2 dials, 2 sizes. Future Orange and Absolute Grey. 36 millimeter, 38 millimeter. You own a club. I don't. I don't know what I would choose out of 36 and 38.
I got a 40, mate.
Damn. And the 40 even wears, I'd probably go to 38
Yep.
just to have a different size in the old Collezione. But
Yep.
dial wise, it's really difficult because these 2 dials look so good next to each other.
When they say future orange, that's like a paint sample name. Describe that color to me using word pictures from your mind.
Word pictures from my mind. Okay, so picture an orange.
Uh-huh.
Now picture an orange in 2035.
Uh-huh.
Done.
So, and you're not the dad in this duo. Jeez.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't even see that coming. Oh, that's the worst.
It's very orange. It's just like
for me, I think you're absolutely right, Andy, because it's an orange that in the future they will have put in like more hormones and it's grown in synthetic sunlight conditions, so that the vibrancy of that orange is like
consistent.
max.
Yeah.
This is not like a sun, you know, this is not being grown in Mildura over summer. This has been grown in a lab under 24-hour, you know, fluoron lights. It's an orange that, you know, you would want someone to wear in a life vest.
Yeah, it's like the orange emoji, you know, like flawless and consistent.
Yeah.
There's no variation. The grey's also lovely though. So
it's absolute.
What are you gonna do? I think about $2,000 Aussie, maybe $2,050.
Don't quote us on the prices.
Cheap, man, for, you know,
value.
in-house manual.
Value.
Yeah, value for sure. Get both. So that's my second. I have a third and a fourth.
Oh, Andy going over allocation budget.
Says the guy who claimed the whole watch fair. I jump over to our friends at JLC for the Reverso Tribute Monoface Small Seconds.
What colour is that dial?
Shimmering and intense green.
Wow.
Screaming my name.
That's a very nice watch, Andy Green. It's
stunning. Stunning.
I'll have the red one from last year in gold. You can have the steel.
The burgundy. I think it's burgundy. Yeah. See, this is the thing. $12,600. It's got the engravable sort of backside, so that's, you know, put something personal on there. Really strong Art Deco vibes that we're seeing come from JLC especially on these like Reverso tribute pieces.
Sure.
But as you mentioned, the burgundy piece, like that was one where we saw it in person again together. And I'm like, this is amazing. They really do a good job at pairing straps with dials. Like they're at the top. They can pair up.
It seems like a simple job, but it's amazing how many brands stuff it up.
I need to find out who's in charge of like the straps and just get them to help me. If they want any, if you're listening and you want any sort of weekend work, maybe you can help me kind of pick out some natos for my watches. Throw it out there.
What's next?
Killer. Just I'm just lost in this green dial. Last one is it's a big piece. It's a piece we discussed with Tony de Haas from A Lange Sun.
Drum roll,
This is,
please.
yeah, again, Dutch, the Dutch legend himself.
Yeah.
This is a watch that is just, you take one look at it and yeah, it's beautiful. From the Lange 1 family, it's a perpetual calendar in white gold with a pink gold dial. Pink gold, not salmon, it's actual pink gold. The retail price is high, relatively speaking, but you know, if we
That's
see what
Lange.
5711s in steel are selling for, it's a steal. It's about 110,000 euros. I don't know, I think that's including taxes. So I don't know, call it 150 for a pink gold dial in a
Landed.
white gold case.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
landed. I don't know. Call your dealer up. It's limited edition, 150. Interestingly, you know, we figured out why they only do sort of smaller volumes, and they just can't make more than that. Like it's
Yeah.
a, you know, complicated and intricate piece of
Quality takes time.
quality takes time. And you know, speaking to Tony genuinely, you know, made me appreciate the Lange brand, you know, even
Would
more.
you would chatting to someone like Tony and you know these sort of releases, is Lange now maybe more on your consideration set?
For sure, for sure. And it's hard to differentiate. Obviously, we got that experience through the podcast, and it's hard to kind of differentiate that like opportunity from, you know, if I was a consumer. But that's part of it. Like these are the sorts of experiences that
Well, it's
make what
exposure
we
to
do.
a brand, I guess, isn't it? And
Yeah, and it's what it makes what we do special. Certainly, I mean, I don't know everything about Lange, so for someone like that to kind of spend an hour or so talking to you about the brand, and
yeah.
it sells you on it more, right? It's sort of
Hey, that's an episode we should link up as well. Remember that, Andy.
which one?
The Tony DeHaas one.
Yeah, this is the whole point of the pick, just to plug our own
Oh,
show.
is this a really cynical exercise in recycling content?
It's been a quiet week at HQ. No, I think so. I think so,
Editor's
and
pick.
it's not everyone. Like it's not like I won't speak to the CEO of, you know, I don't know, JLC and then one to buy one without speaking to him. I don't know that, but I think the passion and the fact that I think Tony mentioned he'd been there for like 15 years.
Yeah, since the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, long time. So he's obviously very happy. He's also really entertaining. Like he's in a position where they obviously trust him enough to come out and speak to press and media and
Yep.
express opinions and kind of and speak on behalf of the brand. And it's sort of
It's refreshing,
refreshing.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
refreshing talking to them compared to some other, you know, sort of corporate entities, I suppose.
Yeah, there's nothing robotic about the man. So I think in
Yep.
terms of
Or how they make their watches.
yeah, and you just kind of hear it, and you go, okay, this makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, we often, you know, and we've been doing this for a bit of time now. We kind of see prices of watches, and it's always, you know, you kind of ballpark
Optimistic.
you always ballpark where a watch should be and what a watch should cost, and you know, you lose track of what is good value or what's expensive or what's not, and it's sort of, you know, we talked about that Nommos before. I said sort of, you know, we said it was good value, and it's sort of it's something that you lose track of, and every brand is, you know, a different size and can do things for different costs, and it's not until you kind of sit down with them and kind of hear, oh well, we're making 150 of these and we had to go through these different, you know, iterations, and you know, we have two guys that make these, and you kind of go, oh, that is special, this is something that's really special and I'm paying for that.
It's funny that you should mention both Lange and Nommos because they're both from, you know, the same town, just down the road from each other. So I think that's telling, and certainly in the context of what you were saying, like these are quality and these are
Yeah.
value. There's
Yeah.
still something that really defines German and specifically Glashütte watchmaking.
Very
In
good
that way.
looking watches. Like for the most part, I think Nomos and Lange for that matter make really handsome, attractive timepieces. I
Yeah,
can't
sure.
think of too many that I would, you know, I would say no, I don't want to spend a couple of weeks with this.
Fascinating.
Stunning. So overall, Felix, the fair. I mean, you loved all the pieces we've talked about. Is there anything we've missed? Is there anything we should?
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's lots we've missed. There was some other, you know, there was other fun stuff like there was some Chanel. Even there was some cool like gimmicky stuff. Like I had to write up a Roger Dubuis that had like a rainbow set bezel that they had painted the interior of the stone setting, so where the stone sits in the case, the inside of that was luminous, so it looked like the
Whoa.
stones glow.
That's right. That's right. You know
Things
what?
like that. Like, I mean, I don't know what that's going to look like in real life, but I think that's pretty creative.
We need to talk about Piaget quickly.
Oh, do we? What do we need to say?
I've just remembered the Limelight Gala, which is basically you and a watch. This is the gem set.
Yep.
You know, kind of integrated bracelets. They've done it with a rainbow bezel. Super colourful. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's called the Precious Sunrise, and it's like
you're a precious
the gold.
sunrise.
The texture of the dial continues all around the bracelet, and then it's got sort of the rainbow sapphire that kind of comes up one side, spins around, and then goes down the other lug, the opposite lug.
Yep.
They did some really interesting stuff with gem setting this year.
Yeah, cool. Piaget's bracelets are phenomenal. They're real. That's sort of what they're historically almost known for, which is a slightly strange thing. I remember one of our old colleagues went and visited the manufacturer in Geneva and was like blown away at the level of care and craft that went into their precious metal bracelets. So,
yeah, stunning. They've done a lot with
Piaget.
Yes, snaps. And the other one that probably should get special shouts, and I don't think we've mentioned them, the Zenith Defy Spectrum.
Oh yeah,
their take on the old rainbow trend.
Well, maybe I've got a little thing coming up with Zenith next week. Maybe we'll have to.
You do.
See it.
Have you seen it? You know what I'm talking about? Though? You've seen what they've done with the they've like PVD coded parts of the movement. I think the main plate, and you've kind of got 5 different colors, and then that's what matches the color scheme of the rest of the watch.
Isn't it funny? I was thinking this the other day. Like when I was first getting into watches, the Zenith Torina Taff watches were seen as the epitome of bad taste. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like he was the CEO at the time, and he sort of was seen as like killing this brand. That was the sort of the collective view of his stuff. Like that, this was like mid 2000s, like oversized, ridiculous, like holes in the cases, rainbows. And now we're sort of coming back around to the love of color. Maybe he was
People have been stuck at home for too long.
His time. Maybe we should get him on the pod.
What's he up to? Is he around?
Who knows?
Kicking around?
I think he sort of disappeared a bit. Anyway.
Trying to reinvigorate his career for him. Oh, I love it. All right, Felix. Well, I think we're done. We're done here.
Stick a fork in us. I've got to call my mum back.
You need to call your mum back. Thank you, as always, to WatchBox for sponsoring today's episode, thewatchbox.com. Go check out their great range of pre-owned watches. Felix, if they want to email us, otthepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, sure. That's a good way to do it. That's probably the best way to do it. Unless you've had email for us. Emails, you can email those. Or you can hit us up on Instagram, ot.podcast. That's an excellent way to get in touch with us and let us know what's happening with your lives. If you've got any thoughts or your favourites, tell us.
Yeah, tag us in your stories, or while you're at it, give us a 5-star review. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mother.
Share our content. If you're like the moderator of an influential, I don't know, podcast,
create a Spotify playlist and just play us on repeat overnight. Nice. That's fine.
Yeah. Maybe we should mention Billie Eilish a bit, just so we can pop that in there in the algorithm.
Pop that in the title.
Send us right to the moon.
Feat Kanye West. Cool. All right.
Let's go.
Till next time.